So I spent the last few days in Brussels in the middle of the most undemocratic creation of the 20th century, thinking that I'm going to come back home to the home of democracy and freedom until I heard the news about what Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell have been saying about this country. John McDonnell has said that he will send Jeremy Corbyn to the palace to stop Brexit from happening. There's been a massive fury at the Marxist plot to force the Queen to make Jeremy Corbyn Prime Minister and take control of Brexit. Now, I leave this country for 2 days and I come back and the whole system is under threat by a bunch of avocado-eating, middle-class, spoiled little socialists. But how is he planning to actually do this with the Queen and the palace? Apparently, the Labour leader will turn up at the gates of Buckingham Palace to demand that he is made Prime Minister if Boris Johnson loses a confidence vote in the Commons. This is what the Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell declared yesterday. Labour will tell the Queen, we are taking over. And the Conservatives said that the shameless plan showed Labour could not be trusted with power. Now, this is absolute lunacy. Now, the way the Fixed Term Parliament Act works under the current system, of course, the House of Commons could introduce a vote of no confidence into the government and the Prime Minister. But if Boris Johnson loses that vote, the government has 14 days to get themselves together and sort this out. Now, you can't really go to Her Majesty as the opposition leader or any other random politician or parties and demand to take over. It's the outgoing Prime Minister that advises the Queen to appoint a new Prime Minister. Also, don't forget, this is still Her Majesty's government, so she still has the final say. Yes, we have democracy in a way that we have a parliamentary system, people vote for MPs and parties, but it is still a constitutional monarchy. So it is her government, it is her Prime Minister, and she has to say yes. But apparently this isn't the end of it. Both Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell also have new plans to deal with political opponents and other parties who oppose their policies and their ideas. Guess what they're going to do with them? Let me give you a hint. What happens to political opponents in Venezuela, in Iran, in Cuba, in North Korea? Well, they lock them up. John McDonnell has said that he wants to invent new laws to lock up Tories and other political opponents. A while ago in a speech, John McDonnell said that when or if the Labour Party is in power, he wants to put Conservatives on trial. I don't know why, but because they have different policies, but this is what he said.
Direct action campaigns next year on a synchronised basis. I want to be in a situation where no Tory MP, no coalition minister can travel anywhere in the country or show their face anywhere in public without being challenged by direct action. They need to be held to account for every action they're doing and the suffering they're causing working class people in this country. My view is they're social criminals. And eventually, I warned them, we will try you for what you've done. We will try you for what you've done to our community. We will hold you responsible for every harm, every hurt you've made against every individual in this country. Let me just say this final thing. The most important thing now is, I think, gear ourselves up, recognise the ferocity of the struggle that's to come.
Now, in a recent interview with Ian Dale actually questioned him about this particular speech and what he actually meant by that. When John McDonnell was asked by Ian Dale about that speech, he said that I was angry. It was after the first round of benefit cuts. Ian Dale said, but try them under what law? And John McDonnell said, I might want to invent it. That couldn't be clearer. An incoming Labour government will use the courts to prosecute and perhaps imprison Tory MPs for passing bills that Labour had failed to defeat while they were in opposition. Now, going back to the whole Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell's plan to take over government by forcing the Queen to give power to them, there's a subtlety behind their intention that no one's actually talking about. Now, I know that a lot of people are not completely pro-constitutional monarchy and they think the republic is a better system, but the idea that the problems we have is because we have a royal family or the Queen, and if you get rid of them, everything's fixed, is also idiotic. The system we have has got nothing to do with the Queen or a future king or a royal family. It's a system based on having a crown. Now, the crown brings stability, but also checks and balances. It could stop crazy people like Jeremy Corbyn from randomly becoming leaders and becoming. Now, if you didn't have a constitutional monarchy and some type of republic system, then obviously it would be a lot easier for crazy people like Corbyn to somehow find a way to start a coup. So whether you're a supporter of monarchy or not, for the sake of the country, ordinary people out there, Brexit and everything that we have, you're going to have to take her side over Corbyn. But the main reason that Corbyn has picked this new plan to force the Queen to make him Prime Minister is because when there was a discussion with the other parties, including the Liberal Democrats, they are refusing to create a unity government, a new coalition against the Conservatives, as long as Jeremy Corbyn and Labour are on top of it. So the Liberal Democrats have already rejected the idea of supporting a Corbyn-led caretaker government. The funny thing is, when the Liberal Democrats and other parties said that they're not going to be supporting a coalition or a unity government with the Labour Party in charge, the day later Labour came out and said, you know what, we've been thinking, we probably don't want a coalition or a unity government with other parties. I mean, they just said they're not going to work with you anyway. A couple of nights ago, it was John McDonnell's turn to give a massive present to Boris Johnson at the Edinburgh Festival show. John McDonnell ruled out Labour supporting any sort of national unity government to try to stop no-deal Brexit that wasn't led by Jeremy Corbyn. So Labour's desperate attempt to stop Brexit and getting into power to turn this country into a full-on socialist utopia, which will fail, is to then find a new way to get into government. Now, guess how they're going to be doing that? Yes, they're going to be needing the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon support to do this. Now, in order to get the SNP support, Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party have essentially given green lights to Scotland to leave the United Kingdom. Now, imagine how the majority of Scottish people will be reacting to this news. John McDonnell wasn't finished handing Boris gifts. He also said that Labour would not block a second Scottish independence referendum. Labour have tanked in Scotland since their hard left leader Richard Leonard took over. Now, of course, Nicola Sturgeon was very happy about this. Sturgeon tweeted that John McDonnell's position on the second Scottish referendum is a statement of basic democracy. But given the polls are showing 40% of Labour voters support independence, it also makes political sense. The Scottish Labour reaction goes some way to explaining the existential crisis that they face. Now, this is all hilarious, but it's absolutely outrageous. The first issue was stopping Brexit, and then it was to lock up the political opponents, and then it was, the plan is still to get rid of constitutional monarchy and the parliamentary system that we have, and now it is to break up the union. I mean, I don't know how the majority of people aren't supporting this party. I'm very surprised. Surely these are lovely ideas and policies, no? Now, we might have an election coming up towards the end of this year, but we don't really know, so we might not even have anything until the 2022 deadline under the Fixed Term Parliament Act. But if there is going to be an election towards the end of this year, or at some point soon, then I know that a lot of people who support my channel are from various parties. There are Conservative Brexit Party members, there are obviously some Lib Dems and a couple of Labour people as well. For the sake of not just Brexit, but the stability of the country, the security of this country, and the prosperity, the freedoms that we have, for the love of God, do not support Jeremy Corbyn. Well, let's hope that we don't get to that level. But in order to make sure that people are aware of this risk and this situation, make sure you share this video everywhere with your friends and everyone on social media. And if you want to support this channel, you can join our Cabinet Club. You'll get a lot of benefits, live Q&As, direct messaging, and much more. The link will be in the description. As usual, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle should be somewhere down here. And don't forget to subscribe, click on the notification bell next to it, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.